20 minutes. That is all I am asking for. Not an hour, not a full course, not a new app, a new textbook, or a new subscription. 20 minutes a day. And I want to show you exactly how those 20 minutes, if you use them the right way, can completely change how you speak English. But before I get there, I need you to be honest with yourself for a second. Think about the last time you tried to speak English in a real situation. Maybe you were at a store here in the US and someone asked you something simple. Maybe you were at work and your manager said something and everyone laughed and you smiled, but you didn't really understand. Maybe you were trying to order food, or ask for directions, or introduce yourself to someone new. And the words were there. You knew them. You had studied them. But when you opened your mouth, something happened. Your mind went blank. Your chest got tight. Your voice came out wrong, or didn't come out at all. And then came the feeling after. That mix of embarrassment and frustration. That voice in your head saying, "Why can't I just speak?" If this has happened to you, I want you to know something important right now. This is not a sign that your English is bad. This is not a sign that you are not smart or not working hard enough. It means you have been using your time in a way that builds the wrong skill. And today, that changes. In this episode, I'm going to show you the exact 20-minute daily habit, broken into 3 specific parts, that builds real spoken fluency. Not someday, starting today. Stay with me. Let me ask you something. How did you learn English? For most people, the answer sounds something like this: school, classes, grammar exercises, vocabulary lists, maybe some YouTube videos, maybe an app on your phone, maybe a course you paid for and didn't finish. You read English. You listen to English. You translated English. And all of that, all of those hours were focused on one thing: understanding. And you got good at it. You can read an email in English. You can follow a conversation if people speak slowly. You can figure out what a sign says or what a movie character is feeling. Your understanding is real. But here is the part nobody explained to you clearly. Understanding English and producing English are 2 completely different skills. They use different parts of your mind. They require different kinds of training. And here is the uncomfortable truth. You can become very good at understanding a language and still not be able to say a single sentence under pressure. Think about this. Imagine someone who reads every book ever written about swimming. They know the biomechanics. They know the strokes, the breathing technique, the turns. They have watched Olympic swimmers hundreds of times. They can explain exactly what a perfect freestyle looks like. Now put them in a pool and ask them to swim. They would struggle. Because reading about swimming is not the same as swimming. The body does not know how to do something just because the mind has studied it. The same thing is happening with your English. You have been training your eyes and your ears. Nobody trained your mouth. And now, when you need to speak, in a real conversation, under real pressure, in a real moment here in the US, your mouth does not know what to do. It freezes. It hesitates. It produces something slow and uncertain that does not match what you know. This is not your failure. This is a gap in your training. And the good news, the real good news, is that this gap can be closed, not with more studying, not with more grammar, with a different kind of practice, with practice that directly trains your mouth, your voice, and your automatic responses. The problem was never you. It was the method. And now we are going to fix it. Let me tell you about a moment I still remember clearly. I'd been living in the US for a few months. My English, on paper, was decent. I had studied for years. I could understand movies. I could read the news. I could follow most conversations if I focused hard enough. One afternoon, I was at a coffee shop, one of those busy places where everyone is in a rush, orders flying everywhere, the barista calling names, the line moving fast. And when it was my turn, the barista looked at me and asked something, a simple question. Probably about what size I wanted, or whether I wanted it hot or iced. And I knew the words. I had heard that question before, but something in my brain just stopped. I said something. I'm not even sure what. She looked at me with that polite, patient face that somehow made it worse. I pointed at the menu. She nodded. I paid and stepped aside. And I stood there waiting for my coffee, feeling like I was 12 years old again, learning everything for the first time. And the worst part was not the moment itself. The worst part was what I told myself afterward. You studied all this time and you still can't order a coffee. I went home that day feeling smaller than when I left. But, and this is the part I want you to really hear, that moment changed something in me. Not right away, but slowly, because I stopped trying to study more. I started trying to speak more. Every day, even badly, even alone in my apartment, talking to myself, recording my voice on my phone and listening back. I started practicing the exact sentences I needed for real situations, not random vocabulary, not grammar drills. The actual sentences, the ones I needed at the coffee shop, at the office, on the phone. And something started to shift. Not overnight, not in a week, but the gap between what I knew and what I could say, it started to close. My mouth started to remember. My voice started to feel like mine. That is what this 20-minute habit gave me, and it is what I want to give you now. The Speak First system. Before I show you this, I want you to understand something important. This is not a magic formula. It is a training structure. It works because it targets the exact gap we talked about, the distance between what you know and what you can say out loud, under pressure, without thinking. 3 parts, every day, 20 minutes total. Let's go. Step 1. Activate. This is the first 5 minutes, and it happens before you do anything else in your morning, before you check Instagram, before you answer messages, before you open your email or scroll through the news. 5 minutes of spoken English, out loud, with your real voice. Here is exactly what you do. You talk about your day. In English. Out loud. You describe what you are going to do, what you need to do, what you are feeling. It does not have to be perfect. It does not have to be beautiful. It just has to be spoken. For example, and I want you to notice how simple this is, you say something like, "Today I have a meeting at 10. I need to send an email before that. I'm a little tired because I didn't sleep well, but I'm going to try to stay focused." That is it. Simple sentences. Real life. Your voice. Why does this work? Because you are training your mouth to produce English. At the moment your brain is most open and most ready, you are creating a daily signal that says, English is not something I study. English is something I speak. Every single morning, you are reinforcing that signal. Do not write it. Do not think about it first. Just open your mouth and speak. Whatever comes out, let it come. That is the point. Passo 2. Absorb and echo. This is the middle 10 minutes. You can do it during your commute, during your lunch break, while you are walking. Any moment during the day when your hands are free and you have some privacy. Here is what you do. You find a short piece of authentic English audio, a podcast, a YouTube video, a clip of a native speaker talking naturally, 2 to 3 minutes long, and you listen. But not passively. You listen with full attention, and then you repeat out loud, not just the words, but the rhythm, the stress, the small sounds that native speakers make without thinking. This is called shadowing, and the reason it works is not mysterious. When you imitate a real voice, you are not just learning words. You are learning how English feels in a mouth. The pauses, the contractions, the way going to becomes gonna, and want to becomes wanna, and did you becomes didja in natural speech. After you shadow the audio, do one more thing. Take the main idea from what you just heard and say it back in your own words. Out loud, without reading. Just you explaining what you understood. For example, if you listen to someone talking about managing stress at work, you say, "He was talking about stress. He said that the best thing you can do is take small breaks. He mentioned something about breathing. I think his point was that you don't need to change everything. Just change small habits." This is called the echo step, and it is powerful because it forces your brain to process English, not just as input, but as something you can explain and reproduce. That is real fluency training. Passo 3. Lock it. In. This is the final 5 minutes, and it happens at night, before you sleep. You take 3 sentences from your day, real situations, real things that happened or that you needed to say, and you say them out loud in English. Then you write them down. Then you say them one more time. These sentences become your vocabulary, not words from a list. Sentences from your real life. Sentences your mouth already knows how to say because you practiced them. For example, I had a long day today. My coworker asked me to help with a report, and I didn't know how to say no. Next time I want to say, I'd love to help, but I'm a bit swamped right now. Can we talk tomorrow? Notice what happened there. You took a real situation, you identified a gap, and you filled it with a real sentence you can use next time. That is not studying. That is building a personal language system, one day at a time. 3 sentences, every night, spoken out loud, written down, spoken again. 5 minutes. Activate, absorb, and echo. Lock it in. 5 plus 10 plus 5. 20 minutes. That is the Speak First system. Now let me show you what this actually looks like inside a real day, because I know what you are thinking. That sounds good, but my life is complicated. I have a job, I have kids, I have a commute, I am tired. I hear you, and I designed this for exactly that life. Imagine it is 7 a.m. Your alarm goes off. Before you reach for your phone, before the notifications, before the emails, before the news, you sit up and you speak. In English, out loud, just 5 minutes. You talk about what today looks like. You describe your plans, your worries, your small hopes for the day. Nobody is listening. Nobody is judging. It is just you and your voice, warming up. This moment works because your brain is fresh. It has not been flooded yet with input from the outside world. You are in production mode, and that is exactly when you want to train your mouth. Now, the middle of your day, you are on the train, or in your car, or walking to lunch. This is dead time for most people. For you, it becomes English training time. You put in your headphones. You find a short clip, a news segment, a podcast episode, a YouTube video in English, and you shadow for a few minutes. You repeat what you hear. You echo the main idea back to yourself. You do not need a classroom for this. You do not need a teacher. You need your phone, your headphones, and a few minutes when your hands are not busy. That is it. And then there is the night. 10, 15 minutes before you sleep. You sit somewhere quiet, your bed, your couch, and you do your lock it in practice. 3 sentences from your day, spoken, written, spoken again. You review what felt hard today. You notice what felt easier than it did last week. You close your notebook and you let it go. There will be days when you want to skip this. I want to be honest with you about that right now. There will be mornings when you are rushing out the door and 5 minutes feels impossible. There will be evenings when you are exhausted and the last thing you want to do is practice anything. That is completely normal. That is not weakness. That is a human life. On those days, you do not skip everything. You do the smallest possible version. 1 sentence in the morning, 1 sentence at night, 30 seconds of shadowing on your commute. You keep the chain alive, because the chain is what matters. Not perfection, not heroic effort, just consistency. Stack this practice onto things you already do. Speak during your morning routine. Shadow during your commute. Write your 3 sentences while you are winding down for the night. You are not adding new time. You are using the time that already exists, just differently. I want to talk to you about something that nobody warns you about when you start this kind of practice. There are going to be days, maybe many days, when it feels like nothing is happening. You will do your 20 minutes. You will speak your sentences. You will shadow your audio. And then you will have a real conversation in English, and you will still freeze. You will still hesitate. You will still feel like you are not getting better. And in that moment, every part of you is going to want to stop. I know this feeling. I want you to know that I know it. Not because I read about it, but because I lived it. And I want to tell you what I learned about those days. Those are actually the most important days of your entire training. Think about what happens when someone goes to the gym. The first 2 weeks, they feel sore. They feel awkward. They feel like nothing is changing. But underneath the surface, something is happening. The muscles are being broken down and rebuilt. The body is adapting. The progress is real. It is just not visible yet. Your English works the same way. Every day you speak out loud, even badly, even alone, even with mistakes nobody hears. You are building something. The connections are forming. The patterns are solidifying. The mouth is learning. But you will not see it every day. You will see it suddenly, unexpectedly, in a random moment. You will be at a store or on a call or at work, and a sentence will come out of you, naturally, without thinking, without effort, and something in you will recognize it. Wait, that was easy. That is the moment, and it comes faster than you think, but only if you do not quit before it arrives. The hardest part about building fluency is not the practice itself. The hardest part is continuing to practice during the silence, the weeks when you cannot yet hear your own progress. Most people quit during the silence. They try for a few weeks, feel like nothing is happening, and tell themselves they are just not good at languages. They go back to passive studying, watching videos, listening without repeating, reading without speaking, and the gap stays exactly where it was. Do not compare yourself to someone else in your office who seems more fluent. Do not compare yourself to a native speaker. Do not even compare yourself to who you were 6 months ago. That comparison is too big to feel real. Compare yourself only to who you were yesterday. Are you a little better today than you were yesterday? Did you say one sentence you could not say last week? Did you understand one phrase that confused you before? That is progress, real progress. Invisible to the world, but completely real inside your body and your brain. And here is the reframe I want you to carry with you. Fluency is not a destination you arrive at one day. It is a practice you build every day. The person who speaks English with confidence is not someone who is smarter than you. They are someone who kept going during the silence. That person can be you. It already is you, 20 minutes at a time. So right now, not tomorrow, not next week, right now, after this episode ends, I want you to do one thing. Say this sentence out loud, with your real voice, loud enough to hear yourself clearly. I have 20 minutes today and I am going to use them. Say it slowly. Say it clearly. Say it again if you need to. Feel what it is like to make a promise to yourself in English, out loud, with your own voice. Because every time you open your mouth and speak English, even alone, even imperfectly, you're doing something important. You're teaching your nervous system that this language belongs to you, that this voice, your voice, belongs in English too. I really mean that. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for giving this 20 minutes a chance. Keep going, even on the hard days, especially on the hard days. And I will see you in the next episode.